Hello guys and welcome to another tutorial. So we're going to be implementing cards today. So for this problem, it states that when Sereja was 3 years old, he was given a set of cards with letters for his birthday. They were arranged into words in a way which formed the boy's mother's favorite number in binary notation. Sereja started playing with them immediately and shuffled them because he wasn't able to read. His father decided to arrange them, help him restore the original number on condition that it was the maximum possible one. The first line contains a single integer n, which is from 1 to 10 to the 5th power. This is going to be the length of the string. The second contains a string consisting of English letters. This is going to be in lowercase. It's going to be Z, E, R, O, and N. It is guaranteed that it is possible to rearrange the letters in such a way that they form a sequence of words, each being either a 0, which corresponds to 0, or 1, which corresponds to 1. All right, to digit 1. Alright, so for the first input, so the first thing is look at the input and see how we can solve this without having to rearrange the entire words, alright? And if you look at the word 0 and you look at the word 1, what you want to do is find the characters that they don't have in common, alright? So for example, we know that if we have a Z, we can associate that with a 0, and if we have an N, we can associate that with a 1. All right. So for example, if we have a 0 here, we don't actually have to rearrange the words to form a 0. We can just say, hey, does this actually contain a Z? Yes, it does. Does it contain an N? No, it doesn't. That means that we cannot form a 1 from this. All right. Or for example, we could use R in this case because 1 doesn't have R, right? So we can say, hey, if the number of R's is 1, then we know that the number of outputs for 0, right, should be 1. All right, so we output 0. Okay. So in this case, as you guys can see, that we have 2 N's, right? So which is going to correspond to 1, 1, and then 0 is either going to be R or Z. We just have one instance of each. Right, so it's going to be just 1, 0. So this problem is straightforward. The thing is just figuring out that you don't have to go ahead and do the ordering like this. You can just pick the unique characters that define the actual word and then use that to solve the problem. So let's go ahead and solve it. So I'm going to go ahead and create a file. So I'm just solving this problem like back to back. I literally just read the problem a few minutes and I grabbed it, and I'll save it as cards. Alright, so let's go ahead and implement something. So let's go ahead first and do our include here, and it should be std io.h. Alright, yeah, I think we can just go ahead here and define main. I don't think, okay. Did I miss something here? Alright, so this is the input size. So this should fit within an int. Okay. Alright, so let's do int length, and we're going to do index as well, because we need to loop over characters. And let's go ahead and do a scanf here and take in the length because we got to pass that to the character array. And so let's do %d and then ampersand length, and then let's create a character array. So do char, and I'm gonna call this one, I don't know, chars, and pass in the length right here. And then we can read in our characters. So let's do another scanf and do %s and pass in chars. All right, so what we want to do is loop over our characters, but we know that our string, right, the ones go first and the zeros go after. So we got to figure out a way to do our results. So we don't really need us to put this in a string, right? Because we don't know how many of them are really in there. So let's see, how can we do this? You know what? Let's do something like this. Let's do an unsigned short, and we only need this for. Let's do number of z's. Number of z, and let's just set this to 0. The thing is that for the z's, since the z's go back, the zeros go to the back. If we're in a for loop, we can print out the ones, but we can't really print out the zeros. So we need to actually track the zeros so we can print them after the ones. So we could then loop over our characters. So index equal to 0, and index is less than the length plus index. All right, I'm gonna say if chars pass in index, and so we could XOR this with the character n. So we XOR that, and that gives us a 0. So that's not this. All right. So if that's the case, let's just go ahead and do printf, and we can print a 1 and a space, right? And if it's gonna copy this, and we're gonna do this for z. So you can say that if so if it's a z, then instead of printing it, we gotta just keep track of it. So we're gonna do a number of z, and let's just increment that by 1. All right, so the thing is that we need to print out the ones before we print out the zeros, and we don't know which letter and the order is gonna come first, at least as I'm thinking about it. We need to make sure that we put them in the right association. So yeah, so once this is done, we need to go ahead and loop over the number of z's. So we can say that index is going to equal to 0, and index is going to be less than the number of z's, and then we'll do plus index. All right. And then we can just go ahead and print f. I'm going to print 0 and space. All right. Okay, I think this should be it for the problem. Right. So let's go ahead and run this. And so let's say that we have what? Let's do 5 characters. Gonna be, so let's do n. So let's do 0, 0, like that. So this should just give us 0. All right. And let's do it again. And this time, let's just have 3 characters. And let's put in 1. So this should give us 1. Alright. So that's fine, that works. Let's copy this and paste it. If there are any problems, I will come back and fix them. I don't know if the extra space in the back here is going to make a difference. Normally it doesn't, at least for some of the stuff I've done before. It doesn't mess up, so hopefully it doesn't. So let's go ahead and go to the submit and paste it. And let's submit. Alright, it looks like it's been accepted. Alright guys, this will be it for this video. I will see you guys in the next one. Have a great night.